Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode on No, but Seriously, Let Me Explain. Hosted by the beautiful, intelligent Earth Angel Lala Davi. This podcast was designed to provide detailed business advice, next-level resources, personal credit tips, and relatable relationship knowledge. Be sure to bookmark this page and subscribe because we wouldn't want you to miss any valuable content. And if you're struggling with poor credit, don't even worry about it. Just text Help My Credit to 507-400-3426. That's 507-400-3426. We have live agents standing by to cater to all your service requests. And now that that's out the way, let's make room for what the host has to say. Lala Davi, do your thing, girl.
Welcome to No, but Seriously, Let Me Explain. This phenomenal podcast series that will keep you fully engaged with all the tips and tricks that you need in order to be successful while giving you plenty of flavor. I am your host, Lala Davi, and today we will discuss narcissistic tendencies. Have you ever interacted with someone and immediately felt as if they had narcissistic tendencies? No, but seriously, let me explain. There was a guy named Nick. Nick was a narcissist who was obsessed with his appearance and his status. He spent hours each day grooming himself, and he took great pride in his looks. Nick believed that he was better than anyone else and that he deserved all the best things in life. Despite his arrogance, Nick was very successful in his career. He was this high-powered lawyer who made a lot of money and had many influential clients. However, Nick's narcissism eventually caused his downfall. He became so focused on himself that he started to neglect his work and his clients. He would show up late to meetings or just not show up at all. And then he would spend more time looking in the mirror than really preparing for court. Nick's colleagues and clients began to notice this erratic behavior and his lack of professionalism. They started to distance themselves from him, and soon Nick found himself with no clients and no friends. He was forced to face the fact that his narcissism had cost him everything that he had actually worked for. In the end, Nick realized that his obsession with himself had been his downfall, so he sought out for some help and definitely started to focus on building real relationships with people and being a better lawyer. Slowly but surely, he started to rebuild his reputation and his career back up. And Nick, he definitely learned that true success comes from hard work and humility, not from being a narcissist. People who have narcissistic personality disorder, also known as NPD, often come across as being really confident, but in reality, they're just really extremely fragile and can't even handle the slightest bit of constructive criticism. When you're interacting with a narcissist in relationships, romantic or otherwise, you'll quickly notice that everything must be done on their terms. And it might be real subtle at first, like you might see it being disguised in the love bombing stages, of course, but the narcissists really need to be in control. Like they have to have it their way or no way at all. Like you might want to recognize signs in narcissists that you can quickly respond to, especially knowing how to respond in the moments when you're dealing with a narcissist in a long-term relationship. You may have met a few friends or some love interests here and there, but something seems different. Like maybe they're really charismatic and really charming and really fun and spontaneous, but they never really seem to care about what interests you. Or maybe even they've ghosted you a few times and came back with a good excuse. But believe it or not, many people are drawn to these narcissistic relationships. Narcissistic partners can be very captivating, especially in the beginning. They tend to have this big personality and they're always the life of the party. They can really make you feel that you're obviously a great person because you selected them. And for them to be with you, you got to feel some type of way, right? Now, narcissists are prone to falling madly in love with someone instantly and are very quick to commit. However, this initial love and commitment isn't really easily sustained by these narcissists. You would rarely see genuine thoughtfulness or empathy coming from them. Like, for instance, if you were supposed to go shopping with this guy or this girl, but you get seriously ill, they might get annoyed by that. And their plans might feel ruined, or rather than them feeling bad that you're sick, they're going to feel away because you've basically taken their time out their busy day to stop what they're doing to cater to going shopping with you. So now it's your fault that you're sick and that you didn't make it to go shopping and get these treats for little Ray Ray and doggy biscuits for Junebug. So yeah, now you've become the bad guy. Another instance, if you guys were watching the news or something and some type of murder case mystery story pops up and they see the killer doing something stupid, instead of really being for the victim, they might say something like, oh, that killer is stupid as hell for getting caught, rather than having some empathy for the victim. It's real crazy to me, but that's how their minds operate. And if they're showing you interest or attraction to you, you might notice that they're coming off strong without really knowing you yet. And this is all a part of the love bombing stages. Like, a person with narcissism might frequently remind you of how many accomplishments they've had and all their success while they're trying to woo you in. But at the core of narcissism is really insecurity. The person that needs to constantly validate themselves, they need this in order to fill some type of void. Like, there's some type of void there that's making them feel some type of lack. Or you might be perplexed by the opposite. Someone might speak excessively negative to themselves, seemingly introverted and self-focused, but not in a grandiose way. Like, they might say things like they have low self-esteem or they lack confidence, but they speak very defensively if you agree. Like, that's so confusing. And if you hear them talk about themselves in a way that essentially says, no one can talk to me about me, you just might be observing covert narcissism in that case. Having a close relationship with someone with narcissistic personality disorders can be really frustrating, and it could really be hurtful at times too. As a mental health condition, narcissistic personality disorders may manifest differently in each and every person. Like, some people might experience less intense symptoms and can have really long-term relationships. And then there's others that may have developed defense mechanisms that can lead them to manipulation tactics on their partners, friends, and family members. In either case, narcissistic personality disorder is not a choice. It is not a sign that someone is a bad person either. Narcissists may show you love and act in loving ways, but this will always be conditional, depending on what you can give them in return. However, this type of person does lack empathy, so narcissists really can't love you. These narcissists are out here giving many levels of hell and then often get confused when you stop giving them peace. Like, make it make sense. There's simply no winning with the narcissist. Narcissists will cheat and blame you for being clingy. They will treat you horribly so that you will become withdrawn and depressed. And then you will turn around and say, you're no fun no more, or you're always depressed, or I need to be with somebody more positive. But in all reality, he's the one or she's the one that made them depressed, or made them withdrawn, or made them aggressive. So when you're constantly running back to a person with narcissistic tendencies, you're really intervening with their karma and helping them get through the process. So they'll never really change if you continue to play the role of being their personal crutch. You're not the crazy one. It's just that you're around a person that's always projecting that image onto you. They act as if they're always right. They know better than you, and you're always wrong, stupid, or just crazy. This often leaves you feeling like you're either angry, or you're trying to defend yourselves against them, or identifying with the negative self-image and feeling badly about yourself. It's time to change your reality by surrounding yourself with people who make you feel good. Those who can add value to your life, and not just someone that's going to keep you feeling like you're wrong all the time. You can't force someone to respect you, but you can refuse to be disrespected. Stay away from people who can't take responsibility for their actions and who make you feel bad for being angry with them when they do something wrong. They'll never tell the full story. It's just a part of that makes you look bad. So they don't actually care about you or others, because to them, other people are just things to use. Never make someone a priority when all you have been to them is just an option. You can't change what someone doesn't see in you. And you can't change someone who doesn't see an issue in themselves. So don't attempt to even try. If you find yourself in a narcissistic relationship, you can first recognize that you have chosen this relationship and then reflect on the unconscious motives that may have led you to choosing this type of partner. Like, did you have a self-centered parent? Like, are you comfortable with your partner being in control so you can be more passive in this relationship? Or do you see some type of sense of worth being attached to this person who is always in the spotlight? Or does the negative image of yourself they foster with criticism and super attitudes resonate with your own critical thoughts about yourself? Many people who fall in love with narcissists have issues around codependency. Understanding your role in a narcissistic relationship is very important. You can start to challenge yourself to change the half of the dynamic. This will in turn challenge the partner who you're with to change their style of relating. You can also recognize how fragile your partner's self-esteem may be and have some type of compassion for the fact that his or her inflated sense of self or superiority or grandiosity is covered up with this flip side of self-hate and feelings of inadequacy. You can also develop your own self-confidence and self-worth by learning how to practice self-compassion. Don't be a victim at all. All in all, you need to have all encounters that act equal and treat your partner as if they're equal as well. Narcissists can break these challenging behaviors by removing patterns of being self-centered without withholding. They definitely have to fight the tendency to always compare themselves to others and the need to be the best all the damn time. A narcissist can really challenge and overcome narcissism by recognizing and separating the self-soothing and self-attacking attitudes of their critical inner voice. These attitudes that internalize very early on in our lives, of course, they need to recognize this and challenge these attitudes towards themselves and towards others. It's a mindset thing. And when you change your mindset, you can begin to change your attitude. Recognizing these traits and setting boundaries is important to protect yourself from emotional abuse and manipulation. It's important to understand that these people may never change, and it's okay. It's okay to prioritize your own well-being and walk away from any toxic relationship. Don't let their manipulation and gaslighting tactics make you doubt yourself or your reality. Remember that you are worthy of love and respect. And don't let a narcissist convince you otherwise. Take care of yourself by setting these boundaries to protect your well-being. It's not your responsibility to fix them, and it is okay to walk away. So don't let them convince you to do anything different. Prioritize your own mental and emotional well-being and seek support from other loved ones or even a therapist if you need it. Remember that you have the strength and the resilience to move on from any type of damaging relationship and find happiness and peace in your life. We are thrilled to welcome a very special guest to our podcast today. Juanita Anderson is an expert in the field of mental wellness with years of experience helping people achieve their mental wellness goals. We are excited to hear all of her insights on people with narcissistic tendencies. We can't wait to dive into this fantastic discussion with her. So let's get started. Thank you for joining us, Juanita. So, Juanita, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started in this field?
Yes, hi. Yeah, my name is Coach Q. I'm a mental wellness coach. I specialize in individual coaching, group coaching, and couples coaching. Having my own past traumas that I had to overcome, it caused me to want to be a vessel to people, letting everyone know that you're not alone out here, because a lot of our mental and our psychiatric, those traumas, those triggers, those response levels, that comes from us believing that we're alone. And we try to deal with that alone, which is never a good thing, especially dealing with a narcissist. But yeah, that's how I got in my field. I've been doing this for some years. Like you said, I believe that we all are worth our best selves and perseverance because we deserve it.
How would you, if you're dealing with someone that's a narcissist?
All right, so there are online tests that you can take. I do recommend people doing it if you have an inkling of it, to make sure that you are aware of signs. Pay attention to their signs. That a few of them is superiority, need for attention and validation, lack of accountability, control by manipulation. That's the signs that they typically shows. Pay attention to the signs of yourself, of course. That's first and foremost. If you're feeling second to last in a relationship, a lack of validation, or you're feeling a lack of attention, if you're feeling low energy, feeling bad, like you're a bad person, self-infliction, self-sabotaging, or doing any negative things that you wouldn't do if otherwise. And I want to put this in here, if that's okay. If you are experiencing any of those relationships like that, please speak to someone, see someone. If you see something, say something. I guarantee you that you are not alone.
How do narcissists behave when they can't control you?
Most of the time, it doesn't matter what type or what style narcissist it is. They lash out at you. They can yell at you. They try to shame you, plainly ignore you, definitely. They try to do another love bomb set up to trap you, to bring you back in, to gain that control again.
Sounds like it's a bunch of games to me.
Sounds like a bunch of games to me.
Definitely. And do you think it's possible to beat a narcissist at their own game?
Yes, I believe that it is always possible to gain self-control, because that's really what it is, to regain your self-control emotionally, physically, and mentally. You can recognize the abuse that's happening, acknowledge it as it is. Don't second guess yourself. You're not crazy. Clearly, you're not. What else? We have like different tactics that you can do. Regain mindfulness of your own needs and your own stability. You can regain your control by self-affirmations every day, reassuring that you are who you think you are. Focus on your self-healing first.
And is it possible to co-parent with the narcissist?
Yes, I believe it's possible to do whatever our mind, body, and spirit allows us to do. It's hard work just to co-parent, regardless. Even harder with a narcissist co-parent. There are steps that I usually address when talking to someone asking those questions, like you want to establish legal services, boundaries, clear and firm boundaries, parent with empathy, because of course your child is going to be feeling that backlash from that narcissist parent. Avoid talking bad, avoid emotional responses to that narcissist, and most importantly, document every single thing.
Most narcissists, they avoid commitments because being tied down really doesn't allow them to feel in control. What is a good example of the type of ultimatum that you will dish out to a narcissist if you're in a relationship with them?
So we don't want to give the narcissist ultimatums. That's typically not a good sign, because that's a clear thing letting them know like it's either this or that. So instead of giving them ultimatums, we want to give them clear, respectful boundaries. Ensure that your own self-respect is solid. Stay calm and in control of your own. Disregard any negative comments and firmly speak your opinion, thoughts, or feelings of the matter, and thank them for their time. It always throws them off. That's just my little tidbit.
I always thank them for their time. They're like, well, how's she being nice to me and I'm being so rude and such an ass?
Killing people with kindness is not an understatement.
I couldn't agree more. And what are 4 words you should never say to a narcissist? And explain that for me, please.
So, let's see. Acting like a victim, definitely. A lot of the times we want to argue with them and we want to say, you're acting like a victim. Oh, that's a no-no word, obviously, because they're not going to take accountability for any of it. So, of course, they're not going to see themselves as a victim. Well, I should say out loud, see themselves as a victim, because narcissists are in the dark. So their insecurity of that word alone, they are victims. They're victims within themselves. But a victim, that's definitely a number 1, I would say. Take accountability. That is a hilarious statement within itself, because a narcissist never takes responsibility or accountability of anything. We might want to combat that take responsibility to, I noticed that this was happening. How can we ensure that it's a different response the next time? You just kind of want to change that wordplay. Another one would be, it's not about you. Narcissists hate that because they believe that everything is about them. So instead of saying something along the lines like, it's not about you, you will say, well, we can discuss this, or I feel, use your I statements, I feel that this could be such and such and such. Instead of narrowing things down to pinpoint or pointing the finger, you kind of want to say we. Another one, last but not least, learn to forgive. Narcissists typically hold on to things because they're gonna use that. They're gonna utilize that, whatever it is that they have on you, and they're gonna hold that, and they're gonna play those games that they play with that information. So they will never forgive, because that's how they get you. That can be a tactic for the love bombing, and or a tactic for regain control of you for future.
Is it ever safe to expose a narcissist in public?
Yes, it is definitely, and that's just, of course, in my opinion, it is definitely safe. Well, in dealing with a narcissist in itself is not always safe. However, to expose them in public, in my personal opinion, that it helps you gain that self-control. Narcissists, they like to be in the dark. For us, as the ones on the outskirts, the survivors, narcissist survivors, I don't like to call the ones that was with narcissists, I don't like to call them narcissists victims, because you're not a victim, you survived it. So you're narcissist survivors. It is always good to speak about it. Never stay in the dark, because that's what kept their bad behavior continuing. I wouldn't recommend to do it alone, though. Definitely seek help with that.
And do you feel as though we all carry parts of narcissistic traits within us?
I believe every person possesses, to some degree, of course, like any characteristic traits. That's what a narcissist is, an NPD. It exists on a spectrum. So we all have a spectrum of a little hints of narcissism, whether it being self-care more than the other, or self-esteem higher than someone else, or just blatantly don't want to deal with people. That's okay. But as long as you keep it at a minimum, and you're recognizing your lack of empathy in another person, you're recognizing your lack of humanity. I'm saying all the wrong words. Human behavior, then you want to make sure that you change those habits to something more positive, more humanizing.
And where can we find you should any of my listeners decide to reach out to you for your services?
You can go to my website. I just got my social media platform. It's up and running. So I do have Instagram. You can add me at Manifest Infinite Coaching. Again, that's on Instagram, Manifest Infinite Coaching. And then you can also go on my website. That's Manifest Infinite Coaching Services.com.
Thank you for all of that awesome advice, Coach Q. I'm sure all of the listeners are going to definitely take away a lot of that information that you provided to us today. And with that said, we have come to a very short commercial break, paid for by our lovely sponsors. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this message.
Yeah, what up, ATL? Look, you ballin', you bad and bougie with bad credit. That's most of y'all. But look, man, that's why y'all need to call my people at Exchange Credit Repair. That's right, Exchange Credit Repair will help you squad them inquiries, get rid of them collections, and bankruptcy. They'll even take child support off. I didn't even know they put child support on credit. Woo-wee! And boost your credit score. Let's get that credit score where you want, so you can go get what you want. And if you mention Streets 945, you get a 35% discount. Hein? So call my people right now at 678-420-5553, 678-420-5553, or visit my people at exchangecreditrepair.info. Exchange Credit Repair is a credit counseling business with experienced credit repair experts standing by to assist you right now. When I made this deal with them, I said, look here, you ain't got to pay me for the commercial. Just put my credit score where I want so I can go get what I want. When I went to them, they treated me like family. My privacy was all the way respected. They quick to fight for a client's right with the Bureau of Credit, creditors, and debt collectors. Conveniently located at 1 West Court Square in Decatur. Tell them Shout sent you.
I'm not saying that I'm the best, but I haven't found nobody that can do it better than me. Hashtag the narcissist. This is a prime example of what a narcissist would say. But instead of thinking that way, you can say something like this. Instead, achieving success is not all about being perfect. It's about learning from my mistakes and then improving them each and every day. I believe that it's a mindset thing with narcissists. And that mindset is basically characterized by a distorted sense of self-importance with a lack of empathy, and then a dash of overwhelming needs for admiration. You may have realized that you may struggle with narcissistic tendencies, and it's not always an easy realization, but it's the first step towards overcoming this issue. Narcissism can definitely manifest in different ways, such as having an inflated ego, having a sense of entitlement, and then there's that lack of empathy again. But the good news is you can totally overcome this. It's not an easy process, but it is definitely worth it for your own personal growth and for your relationships with others. Here's a few things that you can do today to start overcoming your narcissistic tendencies if you feel like you fall in any of these categories. You can start to do this by self-reflection. You can take a moment to reflect on your behavior and your actions. Ask yourself if you've been treating others with respect and with empathy, or if you've been seeking attention and validation. And just be honest with yourself and identify the areas where you really need to improve at. Seek feedback. Ask your loved ones for feedback on your behavior if you're unsure about it. Be open to their criticism and take their perspective into consideration. This will definitely help you to see how your behavior affects others, and then identify the areas where you can improve. You want to practice empathy. Empathy is the ability to just understand and share the feelings of others, basically. And I feel like it's a crucial skill to have, especially when you're trying to overcome narcissistic tendencies. Practice putting yourself in other people's shoes and then try to understand from their perspective. Then you can do something more meaningful like focusing on other people. Definitely try to shift your focus from yourself and put it on other people that you may love. Instead of seeking attention and validation, focus on being of service to other people. Volunteer your time, help someone that's in need, or just simply listen to somebody who needs to talk. If it becomes to be a big problem, you want to seek professional help. If you're struggling to overcome narcissistic tendencies, seeking the help of a mental health professional would definitely help. Treatment for narcissistic tendencies typically involves psychotherapy, specifically cognitive behavior therapy, always known as CBT. And this just basically focuses on the changing of your negative thought patterns and the behaviors that you may have. And then in some cases, any doctor, they may prescribe some type of medication if they feel that those symptoms may need to be suppressed a little bit more, if there is any depression or anxiety there, of course. However, remember, overcoming narcissistic tendencies is definitely a process, and it takes time and effort. But with dedication and the willingness to change, you can definitely become a better version of yourself and build stronger relationships. It's important to recognize that this is not going to happen overnight. It's going to require a lot of your time and hard work, but the end results are definitely worth it. So, as you're working towards overcoming these tendencies, try to be more patient with yourself and celebrate your process. Remember that each step towards becoming more empathetic and compassionate is a step in the right direction. There's no shame in asking for support, and mental health professionals can provide you with all the tools and resources that you need to overcome these tendencies and build a much happier and healthier life. Narcissistic tendencies can be difficult to manage, but once you learn to develop healthier relationships and improve your overall well-being, you'll feel much better as a person overall. So take the steps today, reflect on your behavior, seek feedback, practice empathy, focus on others, and don't be afraid to ask for help. With dedication and effort, you can and you will overcome narcissistic tendencies and become the best version of yourself. As we have come to the end of the show, I really hope that you have enjoyed this episode. Don't hesitate to leave any comments, questions, or concerns or advice that you might have at goaxlala.com. The floor is always open to all of my incredible listeners. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already, because you don't want to miss out on any of the new and exciting content coming your way. I would like to send you much love, give big thanks for tuning in to No, But Seriously, Let Me Explain. I am your host, Lala Davi, the one with all the sauce. I will see you again next week with more show for ya. Until then, stay bold, beautiful, and brilliant. Love ya.